And now we'll walk on a journey of application of those theories and principles from our ancient wisdom. So I'm going to talk about three initiatives where technology meets Indian wisdom. The first is spirituality maps. So technological navigation tool for Indian knowledge systems. The second is Samay Sangeet, a digital platform for exploring Indian classical music as a tool for mental wellness. And the third, universal righteousness principles, a research-based framework for ethical governance and sustainable innovation. Each of these three represents an attempt to translate ancient wisdom into practical modern tools. My invention today, or rather my intention now here, is not to present abstract philosophy. Rather, I want to share a solution-based entrepreneurial experiments, ideas that combine research, technology, and traditional knowledge to address contemporary challenges. So let me begin with the first one. The first one is the spirituality maps, navigation for the inner journey. So it sounds very interesting. Let me start with a simple question. How many of you remember traveling before Google Maps existed? So most of us have experienced it, right? So when we plan a journey to, let us say, a new city, the journey itself was often very stressful. We had to ask people repeatedly, numerous questions. Which road should I take? Is this the right direction? How far the destination is? And sometimes we took wrong turns. Sometimes we get lost. We wasted time. We consumed extra fuel. And often we arrived late. It did not matter whether someone was highly educated or illiterate. So everyone had the same frustration, kind of. Then something remarkable happened. Invention of digital navigation systems like Google Maps that changed everything. Suddenly, travel becomes simple. With one device in your hand, and you know where you are now, where you want to go, how long it will take, which route is best, which transport option is available. So even someone who cannot read can travel across the world today without asking anyone for direction, without getting lost, and often with better experience. You can discover new places along the way, you save time, you save cost, and the journey itself becomes enjoyable. So now let us pause for a moment and think about something deeper. Just like a physical travel or a physical journey, life itself is also a journey. Am I right? And spirituality is the inner journey of human consciousness. But here we face a very interesting problem. For traveling in physical world, we have maps. But for traveling in the inner world, we have no navigation system. As a result, many sincere seekers experienced confusion. They read many books, they follow many teachers, they hear different philosophies, and sometimes they feel lost in the journey. This observation led me to the fundamental question. Being an entrepreneur and being a technocrat, I happen to ask myself, if we can create digital navigation system for physical journeys, can we also create navigation systems for spiritual journey? And that question eventually led me to the creation of something I call spirituality maps, a technology-enabled framework that helps spiritual seekers navigate their personal journey. Just like a digital map tells you where you are and where you want to go and how to reach over there, spirituality maps help a seeker understand where I am on the path of self-discovery, what stages exist ahead, what practice help move forward, what milestones appears along the journey, and most importantly, what is the final destination. The story of spirituality maps begin with a deeply personal experience I would like to share with you. Many years ago, after completing my studies at MIT Boston in the United States, I returned to India. And before resuming my professional journey, I visited my long-term and long-time technology mentor, Dr. Vijay Bhatkar sir, a pioneer of Indian supercomputing. I asked him, sir, what's next for me? He has been always my mentor, and he gave me a very simple suggestion. He said, Sunil, you should go and meet spiritual master in Alandi. And that is how I came to meet Dr. Kisan Maharaj Sakre, an enlightened spiritual guru at Sadhak Ashram in Alandi. So I was there for 4 years after coming from USA, trying to learn. And during my very first encounter, I would say, or very first meeting, Maharaj asked me a question, a very simple question. He asked, who you are, or who are you? And I thought it was an easy question. So I immediately replied, without thinking, I am Sunil Khandbahale. He smiled and said, that is the name given by your parents to you, but I ask you, who are you? I thought again and answered, I'm a software engineer. And he replied, that is the work you do, but I ask you, who are you? And at that moment, I realized something profound. My education, my degrees, my profession, none of them answered this simple question. For the first time in my life, I felt intellectually silent. So I surrendered and said, Maharaj, my intellect does not know the answer beyond this. So please guide me to discover who am I. And from that day onwards, a long dialogue began, a dialogue of questions and reflections about the self-discovery. And because of my background in technology, I developed a habit. I started documenting the discussion. I began mapping concepts. I created mind maps of spiritual ideas. And gradually I started seeing pattern, connections, structures, level of understanding. And what once appeared abstract slowly began formatting a structured framework. And then over the years, under the kind guidance of Dr. Kisan Maharaj Sakre and Honorable Dr. Vijay Bhatkar sir, these conceptual maps evolved into a digital system. What was once on the paper became interactive. And today, these spirituality maps can be explored digitally. They allow seekers to navigate concepts visually, zoom into deeper layers of knowledge, understand relationship between the different philosophies, trace the stages of inner development, and most importantly, a seeker can pause and reflect. Where I am today in my journey, what lies ahead, and what practices can guide the next step. So in today's world, why it matters? Because we face a very interesting paradox. We have advanced technologies, but rising stress, confusion, and existential anxiety. So we have information abundance now, but often wisdom scarcity. So Indian knowledge system contains extraordinary insights about human consciousness, but many people struggle to access them in a very structured and relatable way. Spirituality maps attempt to bridge that gap. So being an entrepreneur and as a researcher, I always try to find out the gap. So what is the gap? They bring together ancient wisdom. So this is the solution, structured thinking and modern digital tools. So that seekers, students, researchers, and practitioners can explore the inner science of consciousness in an accessible format. So now, instead of, you must be curious about knowing what it is. So instead of explaining only through words and theoretically, let me show you a small example. It is a very vast and broad topic, so it will take like hours and hours or days and days. A tiny sample from much larger framework of spirituality maps, an example drawn from the Indian knowledge system and the dialogues with my guru, just to demonstrate how complete a very complex philosophies our ideas can be visualized and navigated through technology. So let us take a look. So Aditya, please, first video. Spirituality maps. Yes, please. The audio is there, right?
Have you ever asked yourself, who am I? Beyond the body, beyond the mind. What is the true essence of who you really are? In a world full of distractions, we often forget to ask the most important question. What is my true nature? Am I just this body? Or am I more than my thoughts and emotions? What happens after death? What is the purpose of my life? Why do I sometimes feel happy and at other times sad? Why do I behave the way I do, and why do others behave the way they do towards me? These are deep, fundamental questions that many of us ask at some point in our lives. Are you simply your thoughts, your emotions, your experiences? Or is there something deeper, something eternal within you? This course is designed to help you dive into these very questions
online course
and uncover the answers that lie within
since
you.
launched last
This
year, 1
journey
year
is
back.
not just about
We have more than 3,000
It's about
seekers have
transformation.
taken this course very
Are
successfully.
you ready to begin? Join us and experience the peace, clarity, and bliss of self-realization.
So this is
The
based on
answers
the
to
book,
life's
which I
deepest
was able to
questions
write.
are waiting for you. Right here, right now.